to the Inphamus Hour live, Facebook.com/BoomBapNation, and peace and blessings to all my FM radio listeners, and of course the loyal fans of SiriusXm Shade 45 every single Thursday, 9 p.m. here on Facebook. We bring a live interactive series where I bring legendary artists to the Facebook platform. If you're in the chat right now, put the comments and put the questions in the chat. We all scanning the chat, looking for the hottest question for the fans. And of course, I have my guy next to me, Tone Vieira, who told me one time he was going to give me $1,000 if I said his name right. And I said it twice. He owed me $2K, my guy.
Check your Cash App. It's there, B. Nah, man. Appreciate you having me out here every week, man. Every week, you put me in the presence of greatness, and this week is no different, B.
So, peace to my past guest, Jojo Pellegrino. And when he was here, we were having some side conversations. And he's like, if you want Shyheim? And I'm like, what? No. I want Shyheim on the Inphamus Hour, of course. So we made some phone calls back and forth, and here he is, Shyheim. Welcome to the Inphamus Hour.
Let's go.
Peace. What's up? Thanks for having me, Boom Bap Nation. What's happening?
That's right. You know, Shyheim, you've been outside for a long time. You've been outside in these streets. How are you adjusting? Because obviously you had a vacation. We'll talk about that. But vacation, the world has changed a lot, right? Pre-vacation, now you started very young as a kid. But how are you adjusting to the new ways of the world and how the culture is moving?
Well, where I was at on my iron vacation is just the micro of out here is the macro of it. So the same things that's going on in there, same thing that's going on out here, but mentally, you know what I'm saying, the condition of people, or where people are at mentally. So I kind of was, kind of like knowing what was going on, because I try to educate myself on current events and things like that. But it's like you can never study for when it's like go time, you know what I'm saying? So being out, things was moving fast, and I was just blessed for COVID to happen. Not in the, you know what I mean? I lost a lot. Yeah. Rest in peace to everybody I lost during that thing. But it allowed me to enter back into society slow. You know what I'm saying? So when I got out, I was only out for maybe 30 some days. Then we all went on lockdown. COVID, So it gave me a time to come out. When I'm coming out, I'm coming out with everybody coming out, kind of. That for that whole year, I was able to slowly see how things is moving.
Blending.
Shyheim, man, first of all, it's a pleasure to bump into you again, man. I met you a few months back at SiriusXm when you came up to do an interview with Lord Sear, man. Man, you're looking great. Thank you. Your resume, beyond impressive. You've got to be part of some big projects in your life. And something that I remember you from is the Biggie and Tupac freestyle off the Funk Flex Big Cap Tunnel album, the mixtape that they dropped. Now, the uncut version, once Tupac finishes rapping, you jump in. Now, everybody knows that story, that you jumped in, you were 14 years old. But I want to know, what were the events that led up to that day? How did you end up at the tunnel? Was that an invite thing? Was it a random thing that they just passed the mic to you? I want to know, the whole behind the scenes.
That wasn't at the tunnel. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was on a Flex album. I don't know as far as that. But what it was that how it came about. Big Daddy Kane was on tour. You know what I mean? On a Budweiser Superfest tour. And it was his show that he brought all of us out and let us rock on his show.
Gotcha.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's Kane. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Kane is responsible for that. And Mr. C, who was the DJ for Kane, you know what I mean? And he recorded that night. You know what I mean? And then once we lost Tupac and Big, rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? People, held on to that. And, you know what I'm saying, made it a Tupac and Biggie thing. Yeah. Now it's it's a Tupac and Biggie freestyle. That was a Big Daddy Kane show, and he let us rock. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
So that night, would you say, was there other nights where you rapped with Tupac and Biggie in a cypher, or was that?
Well, see, Kane, again, you know what I'm saying? At that time, I was young, man, and I was fortunate to be around Kane and everybody that he brought me around, you know what I'm saying? So I was through him. I also worked with Jay-Z and Source Money and Old Dirty Bastard on Show and Prove, a record that was actually Kane's record also. You know what I'm saying? So I got to shout out Big Daddy
awesome.
Kane.
Thank you.
Kane.
That must have been dope because obviously you're a young MC. So it's almost like
it was the dope, man.
Parading you around like a trophy. Like, now you think y'all nice. I'm gonna pull son now. He 14. Gonna air you out.
Yo, what I mean, like, see, back then, it was just like, oh man, it was just the biggest thing in the world to be able to. It's like it's almost that people thought I was lying around my way before I made it, right? Because you imagine, like, now you got social media. I say I was with Kane, they'd probably have a selfie or something, but back then we didn't have that. So I'll be like, yo, I was with Big Daddy Kane last night, right? This dude, he really, he's smoking, right? Or something, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's what it was like, man. Man, it was the dopest to be around all of them legends, you know, as a kid growing up in it, you know what I mean? So it's like, for people my age, we both grew up with hip hop the same way. I was just in it growing up at the same time.
What was the decision to actually bring you into the Wu-Tang fold, right? Because obviously they hit the world like a storm early on. Like early on, 9-3, 9-4, then we saw the ice cream video. We see you in there, clip dancing around. And then you really start bubbling after that. So what was RZA that kind of was like, you know, wanting to bring him to the fold?
No. What the truth of the matter was, I had a record contract before Wu-Tang came out. RZA always was my mentor before Wu-Tang became famous, or you know what I'm saying.
So you were signed previous.
Yeah, but I was a minor, so I had to go through the court system. So in the time that I was going through the court system, getting my contracts together, the Clan came out with Protect Your Neck, and then when I came out with my project, it assumed that the Clan came and snatched me up and put me out. Like, I always worked with, you know, the RZA and the Clan and all of them, you know what I'm saying, and R&S and GP Wu and Pop the Brown. I worked with all of them, but I always had my own deal and my own thing.
Yeah, so it was more about association because it was with Virgin, right?
Yeah, I was on Virgin Records for my first 2 albums. Then the third album I did, Man Child, on Wu-Tang Records.
So the On and On record, that was in what period? Was that after Wu was already taken off?
Yeah, that was. I came after the Clan came 93. I came 94 with my single On and On. Yeah. And then the end of the year, more going into like 95 was my album.
Yeah. Did your parents get like any like blowback from, you know what I'm saying, the way you was being portrayed? Because you're completely inserted to gangster hip hop, right? And obviously you're a minor.
Well, that's who I was. I wasn't packaged. Yeah. You know, Virgin, they tried. You know what I mean? Like back then, mind you, I was cursing. Kids wasn't cursing.
You was outside.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was always a thing of trying to. And it was just raw talent, and that was a main thing that was stressed to keep. So I didn't really have those problems. You know what I'm saying? I never had a curfew. I was the kid outside on the bench at 10 years old, 11 years old, going always from Staten Island, getting on the ferry and the train, going up to the Bronx, the Fever nightclub to hang out outside and say what's up to older dudes and, you know what I'm saying, kick a rhyme, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's who I was. That's the Rugged Child. Yeah. And that's how I got that name. So, you know, it wasn't like backlash, like, yeah, he's kid. But I wasn't the only kid cursing. I was just on the record doing it. All my friends, we always doing it. You know what I mean?
What are your thoughts on second generation Wu?
I think they're the Clan's kids.
Yeah, they are. Are you gonna be working with them?
I did get a record from Intel. He did send me a record, and it actually was good. It actually was good. It's on the list. It's on the list of my to-dos.
Oh, for sure.
So I think I like it.
Sure. No, it's because I figure, you know, like, you know, when you Google, you say associate acts, it says you're associated with Wu-Tang. Yeah. So it's like, I figure you'd probably be like in a mentoring position with them, maybe working closely with them, helping them develop.
Well, me personally, for my personal life, I'm just not there yet to be able to offer that type of assistance to anybody coming from where I was just coming from. So, first and foremost, you know, I had to get my personal life in order, you know what I'm saying, before music and anything like that. My relationship with my children, you know, all of that takes place first. You know what I mean? So eventually, you know what I mean, I would love to, you know what I'm saying, give them words of advice, not just them, any young dudes out there.
So being a minor at the time, how did the whole deal with Virgin come about? Because there must have been like a liaison, obviously. Like, who was the person that discovered you and then shopped you around to the labels? And then how did you ink the deal?
Well, see, it didn't. It kind of happened that way, but it didn't happen that way. I had managers, and you know, they was trying to get other groups signed. That, you know what I mean, and I was just fortunate enough to that my song actually back then it was tapes. Yeah. So it was like it was a meeting, and they was playing the groups that they was trying to get signed. And after the tape flipped, my song was on there, and it was like, "Who's that kid cursing?" It was a song called "Bad Little Bastard." I'm a bad little bastard. That was my demo song, right? And they was like, who is that? And they like, "Oh, that's my little man from my projects." They was like, "You got a picture of him?" They was like, "We can get one." And they was like, "We want to sign him." And it was just like
crazy like that.
Then, you know, back then it was like word of mouth. So then the labels would hear, "Yeah, Virgin's about to sign this kid. From Staten Island, what?" And then all the other labels would come in. Then it became like a crazy bidding war. You know what I'm saying, for my album.
Because, you know, often, you know, we see this campaign, especially on social media, about owning masters and ownership. But you weren't in the position, I guess, to not own anything because you were a minor. So how was that divided up in a sense where you were protected in a way because you are your own entity, so someone has to protect you. So how was that deal structured to make sure that you got what you supposed to enjoy?
Well, you know, thank God for the court system, because back when like Gary Coleman and Emmanuel Lewis, they was child stars that their parents spent a lot of their money. So that's why you had to go through the process of Supreme Court. And it's crazy, the same judges that signed my contract was the same judges that sent me away to state prison years later, you know. But, you know, and imagine that conversation, right? Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Kid, like, you know, get it together. Like, you know what I mean? I watched you, right? So I was protected legally. And another thing that protected me was one of the Jews that I got from Big Daddy Kane early on. He said, "Never sign your publishing." And I just said, "Okay, I would never, no matter what, I would never sign a publishing deal." So I never did. So I was protected that way for all my writings and my songs. I recouped on my first 2 albums from Virgin Records. So I do have the masters back on those 2 albums. Me and RNS, because it was a production deal. So he produced half and I'm the writer on half. So together, you know what I'm saying, we on that. And the Manchild album, Wu-Tang Records on that. And everything else, I don't know if y'all familiar with, but right after the Manchild album, I had started an independent movement called Bottom Up. And from like 2004 to 2013, we had like mixtapes out in the street, underground vibe. So that music is available soon, like on my website. And and it's just a new project I'm working on now.
Out here, man. Yo, the acting resume is also crazy. Like TV, film, not just regular film either, because you got like some big credits under your name. But I want to know, like, what made you want to like start acting, and like eventually, are you gonna dip back into getting into some films?
For the first question, I never intended on acting. Like that wasn't. I didn't wake up and say, "Hey, I want to be an actor," you know. And even back then, it was kind of like taboo to be in movies and things like that. You was considered like a sellout. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was.
But that's crazy because a lot of guys were already acting at that time. I mean, Cube was active. Pac was active. I mean, there was some activity.
Yeah, but it was still on that cup. It was still that cup where it was like, all right, they was able to do it. Ice-T, LL, you know what I mean? But for the most part, it was like, you know what I mean? Pop culture really wasn't that accepted. You know what I mean? So when I was getting offered, this is, I'm saying, prior to me actually taking acting, you know, doing something. So I was just like, nah, I wasn't into it. And then I got, it was the Waterfalls video. And it was like, yo, this is a music video. It's not like, you know, and I was like, all right, it's a video. It's not like acting, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, it was just like the blessings just was coming in. Didn't call, so I was like, maybe it's something I should do. And then after I started to do it, I actually started to like it. You know what I'm saying? And now I love it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would love to, you know, do some more movies and stuff one day.
Like, you see yourself as more of like a drama actor or like a comedic actor or like just kind of?
Well, that part, I just want to stretch myself. Like, I just don't want the regular old roles anymore. I want to do something that's going to be, like, very, very shocking. Not too shocking, like, no crazy shit. Not like that, you know what I mean? But just something to stretch my talent.
Is there any, like, a list of actors that you'd want to work with?
More directors. I would want to probably be directed by, you know what I mean? You know, like I could see myself fitting into the Tyler Perry things and his thing going on that he be having. I can see myself fitting in something like that. To, you know, with somebody like him. You know, maybe even Spike. You know, Spike Lee, something like that. Some director, some good director.
Nah, he's super dope. And speaking of acting, we'll talk a little bit off air about the Carlito's Way thing, right?
Yeah.
Because even I was under the impression, like I saw bits of the second film. I didn't really see a lot of it. But you're building in the film, but you're not actually there. So why did that happen?
I mean, I think what happened was I was booked for it, and then something happened with the contract, so it was already out in the press that they were already went the into motion of promoting the film while we was about to shoot the film. They was already
They was already
they was already in promotion before the film was even know what I'm saying shot. So, and that's how that happened. They just never changed it.
Yeah, and then spinning back to the Waterfalls video, I mean, because that was a big video. I think that record went diamond. I'm not really sure that record went diamond. Big. So how will you approach the decision? Because obviously your music was very different. Like you said, we're not popular. You know, they wasn't accepting hardcore hip hop at that time, and that was a big decision. That was TLC's biggest hit to have you play a role in the video.
Well, the director F. Gary Gray, he had seen my On and On video. And was like, that's the kid for Fridays. That's what was going, because he did the Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
And they wanted me to play the little Chris kid kicking over the garbage. I was like, I ain't kicking over no garbage cans. I'm from Stapleton Projects. You know what I would go through the next day and for the rest of my life if I took that role, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, I'm kind of cool. So then when the video came, he was like, I'm telling you, it's not really. So I was like, all right. You know what I mean? And that was one of the best decisions I made.
Yeah. You know, I mean, obviously it's well documented that you took a vacation, and one of the things that I took away from being in prison was it taught me discipline, right? It taught me patience, and you were away for a lot longer than I was. So what are some things that you learned that just made you a better person, right? Because obviously, you know, they promote rehabilitation, they promote these type of things, but just maybe something positive that you got out of your vacation.
I got to demand how I engage, how I spend my time, who I give my time to. You know what I mean? Because in those environments, right, everybody got something going on. Fighting a case, this one, that. And people want to dump their stuff in your ears. So you get all this noise, you know what I'm saying, to where you just want peace. So then I had to learn how to be stingy with my time. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I learned. And also to look, listen, and observe. You know what I mean? Think about the consequences before I get into it, because that's how I always got in trouble. But the problem I had was I was already in trouble trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get out of it. When I should have been thinking what was the outcome before I even made the first step towards that direction. So that's what I learned from prison too. Like, before I put myself in a situation or a place or go somewhere, the odds of something happening in those areas, I weigh it, asset or liability. So it's like, even to going around my way to a corner store, for me, someone who's a predicate violent offender in New York State, I can't afford to just be walking to the corner store around the way and somebody has on a black jacket like I do, and they grab me. I could spend the rest of my life in prison by mistaken identity trying to prove my innocent. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm like, that's not the good idea. I'll go to the 7-Eleven over here. You know what I'm saying? But before, you wouldn't have told me that. I would just been in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So that taught me, and you have to do it when it's that compact. Everything going on. You know what I'm saying? This on drugs, gangs. balance and this, that, and you have to learn how to be able to navigate through all of that with your mind, with your body and your soul, and make it home safe. That's a lot. It's a lot to do.
And one of the interesting things that we're also talking off here is about now this is like your first time coming outside, right? So now you're back outside, and you've been fortunate, although we had a pandemic, because you're kind of like blending in, because we're all coming back outside, right? So like, how are you adjusting to this? Because I guess it was an easier transition because you had time to adjust within your own instead of coming right out to society and re-engaging and readjusting to the way the world wants it to be, when we're all kind of just sitting down and you can just kind of get back home and then come back out.
Yeah, well, as far as the big crowd thing, I'm really not too good with the big crowds yet. You know what I'm saying? Nice intimate settings and family and things like. But that's who I am now anyway. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have the thrill of when you do something for so long. It's like, yo, bro, I've been like you said, outside in clubs and since I was 14 years old, 13 years old. It's like now I enjoy different things in life. You know what I'm saying? Just the small things, like when I was away that I used to be like that you take for granted. I used to always say like, yo, imagine not even being able to see a dog take a number 2. Something so small as that, right? That when they used to come on the searches, right, and a dog come, you be so happy to see the dog. Everybody look at the dog, look at the dog, look at the dog, look at the dog. Because it's a sense of normalcy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Now, you got 5 albums in your catalog. And when people look back at your catalog, I like to ask artists, because like when we think of Nas, it's like, all right, you automatically assume Illmatic is the best album. But for me, I like It Was Written was better. I feel like It Was Written was a better produced album. He was grown. But in your catalog, what do you think is your best album in a sense where your pen game was sharp, the production was sharp, and maybe we haven't heard it yet, but just out of the project that
well, see, all of them is special to me because it was just different stage of growth in my life. So the first one will always be my best album to me, you know what I'm saying? It was the first time, you know what I'm saying, like I was flying on airplanes the first time, like I heard myself on the radio for the first time. I don't think you ever beat that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's a mistake people try to do, beat what they already done. And I think you can only shock the world like once. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at my career now. I'm like, yo, okay, I've done music, I've done film, I toured, I've rapped on stage. I find joy in reading contracts. I find joy in so many other things that I can do and that I'm good at doing, along with the music that makes doing music fun again.
Facts. Man, like, this might sound like a similar question, but like within all those albums, who were like some producers that like really stood out to you that you enjoyed working with, that you felt brought out like the peak Shyheim, the rugged child, you know?
Again, right? So it's like the first album, you a kid, right? Around all these new people and studios and, you know, then the second one, you know, it's a little better. Because now I got money, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm known, I'm popular, you know what I'm saying? So it's a different album, your second one. And then the third one for me was like I had the most control. I had the most control. Who got paid, what producers, who I was going to have, how I wanted this to go. You know what I'm saying? Before on Virgin, it was more of meetings, like a round table and executives and professionals. That's, you know what I mean? With the third album, it was more like, with the bros, so it was like, yo, that's your album. You want to do what you want to do. Who you want to? But that ain't always work out.
So how did you get paired up with RNS? Because obviously he did a large portion of the first 2 albums. I think he did almost every record on the first one besides the RZA joint. Yeah. And then on the second one, he damn near did the whole thing as well. So were you guys paired together? Or were you guys from the same block? Like,
all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like before, when it's back in the demo days, you know what I'm saying? It was like I had both of them. That was my go-tos. I had Rakim, RZA, and I had RNS. So if I wasn't at RZA's house making music, I was at RNS making music. But what happened was my deal came through RNS. We had got a signed a production deal with Virgin. So that's why, you know what I'm saying, RNS produced most of that album. the first 2 albums. And then on the third album, that's when I went and did the third album.
Yeah. Because I believe your 5th album was like 2004.
Well, so no, the 4th, that was Greatest Story Never Told. That was my 4th, and the 5th was Disrespectfully Speaking. Those 2 albums.
What year was that? You remember?
Those was like 04, probably like 09, 010, somewhere.
Because we had a gap when we wasn't getting no music. Obviously, you said you was independent and you was putting mixtapes in the streets as far as publicly produced.
Yeah, well, see, around that time, I had caught my first bid. That was the first bid. I when I had a couple rodeos, you know what I'm saying? But the first time I went upstate, you know what I'm saying? That was around 2002, 01 through like 03, 04. Then I came out, I started my independent label, and I had dropped that album. And then, it just, like, life is happening. Then I had a kid, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm just, all over the place. Then my mom's died. So it was like music, it's hard when you're doing something that you love. Like, I love to do music, and it's business. But then real life happens. So it's like, until my mind grew up and I got mature enough to know when I'm dealing, when to turn the switch on and off. So it was like when I was supposed to be out doing music and focusing on my career, the immature real me was superseding that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's trial and error. I mean, we all grow up and we all go through our things and we make mistakes, you know what I'm saying? But I was just so happen to be doing music and film and things like that.
Real. Now there's like, looking at the discography, a lot of music there. Which song do you feel like kind of just flew under the radar? Like, do you have like a song that you feel like could have taken you to like that high level of like stardom, like put you on the pop charts and like just made you like a more of a household name?
No, because I believe what's for you is for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't question the law. You know what I'm saying? I think it happened the way it's supposed to happen. And again, it's who you ask. You can ask somebody and they might go, "Oh, I don't really know of them," and then somebody will be like, "What, you don't know? I know everything." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, I would just say everything because I just, I didn't make commercial music. Yeah. So it's like the aim never was to be a pop star or be popular. You know what I'm saying? That never was my goal. I wasn't Bow Wow. I mean, not to take nothing away from Bow Wow and none of them, but I wasn't. That was like I made different. I spoke a different language. I spoke to a different person. You know what I'm saying? Then it wasn't commercially accepted. The content that I was spitting about.
That's real.
Now it's a little different. Now they might be able to digest it a little more because now these things that happen more on a broader spectrum. Yeah,
we have a lot of me as a radio personality. I have a lot of kids that follow me. When I mean kids, I mean like teenagers, and I find that there is a never ending battle between trying to be legit and follow the dream of music and dibble and dabble in the streets. And as someone who's kind of been on both ends, like what advice would you have someone that may be watching this right now that may be going through some of them same struggles and looking at you as an inspiration because you did your time, you came out, you know what I'm saying, you still operating the same way, you've done a lot, you've been in film, you've dropped albums, you've been in dope music videos. So what advice would you have to the young Shyheim in the sense that may be watching this?
Take your time. Take your time and don't rush. Because if you look at it, right, the risk we be taking with our lives, sometimes we take big risks. You know what I'm saying? Even myself, when I play it back, like, I went to prison for a long time, 14 years, right? But if I would have got caught for half of the stuff I got away with, probably would never be sitting here talking to you. You know what I mean? So I'm blessed. I'm aware of that. I would tell them that take your time and you'll get there eventually if you just take it step by step. Because the guy, you can make $100,000 right now doing something illegal, right? But they catch you, you're gonna get 10 years. In that same 10 years, the guy that worked at McDonald's and got $15 an hour gets the girl, and the money. At McDonald's.
The guy at McDonald's.
These guys are winning. The regular guys won. Yo, for real, if you look at it, right? All the guys that then got in trouble did all that, yeah, they sneaking off and still giving. They sneaking off. They sneaking off, getting dug out by the hood dude that just got on parole. Yeah, we getting some action there, but they going for the security. Yeah, and you can't blame them. You know what I'm saying? But you go for your bag, go for the security, because what matters now ain't gonna matter 20 years from now. Yeah. And I'm just so blessed that I didn't lose my life believing in everything that I believed 20 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? You couldn't tell me nothing. I know some of my friends are probably in their grave looking down, like, Tim, you believe this boy? This simple. Ain't nobody even pulling up no more. Everything is just like, that's the reality. So I'm just blessed that I was able to see it.
Yeah, most definitely. Here at Inphamus Hour, we have a segment, top 5 segment. We've done everything from top 5 fast foods to top 5 producers with bars. And my question for you in our next segment is happening, top 5 hip-hop groups of all time. Go.
Who?
Top 5 hip-hop groups all time.
Groups?
All time.
So groups mean 2 or more.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Legal groups, so it can't be like a label.
Number one, Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang, let's go.
For me.
Yeah.
Number 2, Capone Noriega.
See, that's the third time I've heard this today.
3, M.O.P.
Nice.
4, Dipset.
Hey.
It's always that fair.
Well, you can do 5 in honorable. You can do a 5 in honorable mention.
I'm gonna say this, all right. Mobb Deep, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay, round of applause.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I love Bone Thugs. I mean, it's a time thing for me.
What's crazy about hearing Shyheim say that list is like you probably knew all these guys. Like when you were a kid. So that's crazy. Like today you're here sitting with us, you dropping wisdom.
I'm telling you, I used to ask me, sign the back of my notebook and go to school. Like, look, I got Tretch's number. I be calling Tretch.
Wow.
Dude's lying.
I think that's crazy. Like, cause like you literally had like a really unique childhood. Like you was friends with like all these people on TV and then like I'm sure they were like mentoring you in some way or another. But like, what's like the coolest thing you learned from somebody?
Well, I learned a lot from just observing. You know what I mean? I mean, the coolest thing I learned. I mean, it's hard to narrow it down, but it's been so many good experiences just being there in certain meetings and seeing how the machine works and seeing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He asked you this question before, but I mean, let's keep it real. It must be fucking dope to have done that freestyle with Pac and Biggie. I mean, let's call a fucking spade a spade. You come in here like it's regular. Ain't no regular shit. That's some classic shit. No, Madison Square Garden. You're on the record. All right, so you're on the record. Describe this moment for us.
It's not a record.
No, but this is a record today. Like today,
made it a record.
I played on the radio. I blended in with a joint. Where Brooklyn at? Spin it back. Hold up, Inphamus Amadeuz, Shade 4-5.
Okay.
Big Pac, Shyheim.
Hey, look. Listen. Thank you.
Describe that moment for you, though. Obviously, I mean,
for me.
Yeah, right, for you. Like in your eyes, actually being a part of it, and then looking what it become the hip hop. Right. It's like folk tale. Almost.
All right. For me, 14 years old, in a limousine with Big Daddy Kane, driving to Madison Square Garden.
Major key alert.
Pulling up like, it's Madison Square Garden. Like, this is dope. Excuse me. Through the under backstage. And then to go out there in the biggest stage you ever seen.
Let's be clear.
Yeah. And it was just like, but when it was my time to go, it was just like my time to go. I was just ready, you know what I'm saying? That night I had on back then the Colombian rain suit. I had on a blue Colombian rain suit.
It's classic.
Yeah, with Colombian with the rain boots. You know what I'm saying? Like if you from the area, so you remember those was a thing.
That was Colombia. They actually got a Colombian store by my crib. I be in there all the time.
Yeah, so I had that on, but the best part of it all, because back then it wasn't social media.
Yeah.
It was the next day. coming outside on a bench in my projects and people being like, yo, I was at the Garden last night, you was there. And it was like, oh, everybody knows you was there. I was like, word. And then it was like, to be like Staten Island famous was like the best thing you could ever be. And that's all I ever really wanted to be, was just like known around my way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we always just wanting to be known to our peers and represent. And, you know, we was blessed that the whole world enjoyed it.
You know, with you and JoJo both here, one of the thoughts that's going through my head is I'm trying to understand why we haven't gotten more Staten Island hip hop stars in a sense, right? Kind of feel like it was Wu, and then it kind of just cut off, and then we've had splashes, right? It's like, you know, we got Mac Wilds, we got JoJo, we got you, but it seemed like there was just never like that type of movement again. Do you think it was like a rebellious thing with the industry? Maybe music changed too much? Maybe, I don't know, like why do you think that was?
Honestly, I think it's on two hands, right? On one hand, I think those people that are in position to gather the whole Staten Island and make it one movement and bring it under one umbrella, they're not being fair. So when you're not being fair to everybody does their own thing, and it becomes loose links and everything goes all around. Because you would think, CJ's from Staten Island, how CJ ain't on Wu-Tang records? Yeah. Like, how does that happen? And it happens because people get caught up in business so much that they forget the little guys, you know what I'm saying? So then you get a bunch of little guys that get rebellious and thinking they know. Now, on the other hand, you ain't did nothing yet and you think you know everything. Shut up and let the people who know better lead the way. So it's like the leaders have to be leaders and the followers have to be followers. And until that happens, you always get one coming through splashing or somebody else splashing, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully, you know, it can come together as one movement.
Any ventures you're currently working on? Like are you working on like a weed strain? You got like a clothing brand?
Oh man, I wish I could have a weed strain, but I'm on parole, so I can't really. I can't have no weed strains.
Even though it's legal though, like now.
I mean, it's not legal for me.
Well, it's because it's not legal federally, right? So
no. What it is, it's like alcohol is legal, right? But on parole, you're not supposed to drink.
Got it.
I mean, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
yeah, most definitely. Shyheim, final question. When it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want the fans and the people to remember you for and appreciate? And more importantly, what do we have next coming up?
What do I want? I don't really. I don't even think that far deep into it. What I want for people. I mean, just never say I lied to you, Jack. You know what I'm saying? That's just my shit. I you know what I'm saying? I gave my heart. I put my truth into it. I'm not one of those makeup artists. So, you know, if you don't want to hear the real, I'm probably not the guy for you. You want to be in make believe land. Two, was new for me right now. I got the record out, featured on RJ Payne record with me and JoJo.
Played that today on Shade 45
Anarchy.
Movie.
That was dope. Funny story about it because JoJo put me on. JoJo's been my friend a long time, right? And so I'm coming back in society. So he's telling me like this guy is, you know what I'm saying? I remember when he first introduced RJ Payne to me. He was like, I was at the Ghost of Big Al, and I was furious. I was like, what? How dare? How fuck, you know what I mean? Then I heard, I said, yeah, all right.
Yeah, he looked like him too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blessing. And then I can honestly say from knowing Al that he would, you know what I'm saying, he would have enjoyed, you know what I'm saying, RJ, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, I gotta fuck with boy. And we did that. So, you know, we swapped. I got a joint with him on my joint, and Rockness for Boot Camp on the same joint, them two. I got a joint now with Hus Kingpin, or Made You Look, or two. Me and Hus. I got the Rugged, a single called Rugged coming out. So y'all look out for that. We're about to drop the video. So yeah, man, I'm just having fun with it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say I'm doing an album, but I'm just having fun doing songs and maybe some videos and just getting back into it.
Yeah, just give it back to the culture. Tolvera, final question.
Yeah, they just announced that New York City's opening back up. Can we expect you at any like local festivals, any local stages, any performances coming up soon?
Man, I would love to. I don't know. I to be honest, I don't know if I'm really like ready to hit the stage like that. You know what I mean? And be in the mix. I kind of want to like just work on my craft, work on my music, and then work on my show. I wanna present, you know what I mean, something big, you know what I mean. So I have to incorporate my acting and my music together. Maybe something like a play, a musical play. My new album might be a musical play or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I gotta have some fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, are there any plans maybe getting this like some sort of like activism stuff? Because I remember, don't shoot me if I have the wrong information, but I remember there was a concert. I think it was you, Fuji's. I can't remember. It was like for like deaf kids or something like that. Back in the day, what was it, like a summer camp?
Yeah.
So any plans to maybe do some stuff like that?
I would love to. Like things is opening up. Like before, like I had a lot of plans to do a lot of motivational speakings and go talk to a lot of kids in the juvenile detention centers and runaway kids and just try to, you know what I mean, talk to them like because. You know, you could take me and take my story and say, yo, this kid, had it all. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, and still ended up in the New York State Penitentiary. So you go, how does that happen? And that goes from making poor decisions and you know, so it's like we got to teach them how to make better decisions.
Yeah, most definitely. Shyheim, thank you for coming to the Inphamus Hour. Boom Bap Nation.
Yeah.
Want to follow you or what do you follow back?
You can follow me on Instagram, Shyheim_rugged. Shyheim_rugged on Facebook, fan page, and Shyheim Manchild Franklin on Facebook. ISO360.org website, isometricconcepts.com. Yeah, shout me out.
All right, Tone, where you catch you at?
Oh man, I'm across all platforms at Tone.Viera.
Right. Of course, I'm the Inphamus Amadeuz, SiriusXm, Shade 45. Make sure you watch the Inphamus Hour here live on Facebook.com/BoomBapNation. Follow Boom Bap Nation. Make sure you follow myself and follow the Inphamus Hour podcast and FM radio available on iHeartRadio and much, much more. Till next time, stay safe and, of course, stay COVID-19 free. See you then.
Facts.